So, how does a hero fall? I mean, how does someone who's celebrated, a valiant soldier, totally loyal to his king, turn into a paranoid, murderous tyrant? It's one of the biggest questions in all of literature, right? And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to dissect the anatomy of Macbeth's tragic downfall.
You see, this is the central puzzle that Shakespeare sets up for us. And to really solve it, we've got to piece together this toxic mix of ambition, guilt, and paranoia. That's where we're going to find the answer.
Okay, so let's set the stage. Before all the darkness, there was a hero. When we first meet Macbeth, he's basically the definition of a noble warrior, a loyal general, fresh from this huge victory, celebrated by everyone. His king, his country, he's the good guy. Right from the get-go, Shakespeare throws these two completely different worlds at us. On one hand, you've got the world of honor and loyalty, summed up perfectly in that one phrase, brave Macbeth. But then you have the witch's world, this twisted, morally murky place where everything's upside down, where fair is foul and foul is fair. And it's this exact collision that's going to spark the whole tragedy. So think of the witch's prophecy as the spark. It just plants this little seed, this idea of becoming king. But it's really his wife, Lady Macbeth, who pours gasoline on it. She fans it into this raging fire, challenging his manhood, pushing him to go for it. And then, as if it was meant to be, the perfect opportunity just lands in their lap. King Duncan, the one guy standing in their way, is a guest in their castle, sleeping right under their roof. I mean, talk about a perfect storm. So you've got the prophecy, the persuasion from his wife, and the perfect opportunity. This is it. This is the combination that pushes Macbeth right to the edge, to the point of no return. It's that awful moment where ambition stops being a thought and turns into a real, concrete plan. It's the first and most important step into that dark abyss. And we get this incredible peek inside his head with this famous soliloquy. You can just feel his mind starting to crack. That ghostly dagger he sees, it's not just some random vision, no way. It's his ambition and his guilt all mixed up, taking physical form. And it's literally pointing him toward the murder. And the crime itself, it's so coldly calculated it's chilling. It's a total team effort. Lady Macbeth, she's on logistics. She drugs the guards. Macbeth, well, he does the deed. And then, together, they frame these innocent guys. After a move like that, there is absolutely no turning back. So, Macbeth gets the crown. He's king. But this isn't the happy ending. In fact, it's the beginning of the end for him. Because when he murdered King Duncan, he also murdered his own peace of mind. His reign just becomes this nightmare of paranoia and a desperate, bloody fight to hang on to power. Now, to really get why he falls apart, we need to understand this key difference: kingship versus tyranny. See, a true king, like Duncan was, is supposed to bring order and justice. But a tyrant, someone who just grabs power, they can only rule through fear and violence, which just creates more and more chaos. And Macbeth, he becomes the absolute textbook definition of a tyrant. And this tyranny just spirals out of control. It's a domino effect of violence. First it's Duncan, right, to get the crown, but then he murders his friend Banquo because he's terrified of the prophecy that Banquo's sons will be kings. And finally, it just gets senseless. He slaughters Macduff's entire family, his wife, his kids, in an act of just pure, pointless cruelty. Okay, picture this. It's his big coronation feast. This should be his moment of triumph. But instead, his private guilt becomes a very public spectacle. His inner demons, they literally crash the party. Banquo's ghost shows up, and only Macbeth can see him. And his terrified breakdown in front of everyone, it makes it crystal clear to the entire court that something is seriously, deeply wrong with their new king. All the blood they've spilled, well, it comes with a huge psychological price tag. This play isn't just about politics or power. It's a deep, dark dive into the minds of two people who are being completely and utterly destroyed by what they've done.
And Lady Macbeth's breakdown is just dripping with irony. I mean, remember her, the woman who was so dismissive, who said, "A little water clears us of this deed"? Well, now she's the one who's completely lost her mind, sleepwalking, obsessively trying to wash away these imaginary bloodstains that, of course, she can never, ever get out.
And while his wife is just completely falling apart, Macbeth, he reacts to her death by going totally numb. He just collapses into this bleak, empty worldview. Life becomes meaningless to him. You know that famous line, "A tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." He's gotten everything he thought he wanted, but he's lost everything that matters, including his own humanity.
So this path of destruction can really only end one way, right? In the end, Macbeth is cornered and killed by a vengeful Macduff. The rightful heir, Malcolm, takes the throne and order is finally restored to Scotland. But let's step back. What can we really learn from this anatomy of a tragedy?
Okay, the whole tragedy is basically built on a few powerful, interconnected ideas. You've got Macbeth, driven by his vaulting ambition. You've got Lady Macbeth, totally consumed by the guilt of that damned spot. And then you have the witches, who kick the whole thing off with this question of fate versus free will, where fair is foul. Seriously, understanding how these three things connect, that's the key to unlocking the whole play.
And you know, this whole journey isn't just random. It's masterfully crafted. Shakespeare uses a classic five-act structure for a reason. It's designed to build the tension perfectly. It shows us the hero at his peak, and then it charts his catastrophic and totally inevitable collapse. The structure itself is a huge part of the story.
So, you might be thinking, why does this 400-year-old story still matter so much? Well, because it's a timeless warning, isn't it? It's this chilling, powerful look at how ambition, when it's left unchecked, can absolutely corrupt and destroy even the best of us.
Which leaves us with one last big question. What do you think? Was Macbeth a monster, just born to do evil things? Or was he actually a victim? A victim of his wife's ambition, of these supernatural prophecies, or maybe just a victim of his own human weakness? And you know, that debate, that's exactly what makes this play an absolute masterpiece.